All right, here we go.
I'm Amin Elhassan.
And I'm Charlotte Wilder.
And this is Oddball. Coming up a little later, our conversation with two-time dunk champ and NCAA champion, Jason Richardson. We'll talk to him about his life, his career, where the game is now, and also some great memories of working with me. But first, headlines from the weekend. Not that weekend. First up, Charlotte Hornets. The NBA's Board of Governors approved the sale of the team from Michael Jordan to a group led by Rick Schnall and minority owner Gabe Plotkin. The sale, for $3 billion, was first announced June 16th, but had to wait for approval for background checks. I think it's like a credit check. Like when you go to Macy's and you buy something and they say, hey, you want to open up a Macy's credit card? And you're like, nah, I'm okay. And they say, well, it's 75% off if you get the credit card. And you say, no, I'm good. And they say, well, we'll throw in this Gucci bag for free. And you're like, okay. And then while they're running it, you're getting sweats and you're like, oh, crap, what if I don't pass this credit check?
James Dolan was the sole dissenting vote. Did he think the question was, will you sell your team? Anytime he hears team being sold, he's just like, no, absolutely not. Do not sell the team.
The world governing body of basketball, FIBA, recently unveiled LED courts in Madrid, which can show graphics and live stats right there on the floor. Great. Can't wait to watch Hassan Whiteside try to play a game while staring at the floor the entire time.
Do it in the sphere, you cowards.
Hassan Whiteside is among players on Israeli club Hapoel Tel Aviv's radar. Huh. Crisis averted, am I right?
Reports over the weekend have 14-year NBA vet Wesley Matthews signing a one-year deal with the Hawks. When reached for comment, Matthews expressed excitement to help Easy Ed McCauley and Bob Pettit bring another title to St. Louis. Get it?
Yeah.
Because he's so old.
Because he's old, yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Hall of Fame reporter Mark Stein broke the news on Friday that Kemba Walker would be headed to the EuroLeague to play for AS Monaco. There's Kemba in his new kit. Admit it, you're a little disappointed that the Monaco jersey isn't just a white tuxedo with black pants.
The name's Walker. Kemba Walker.
007. How's his field goal percentage his last year in the league, huh?
Austin Rivers said on a recent podcast episode that stars like James Harden and Damian Lillard demanding trades from teams they are contractually obliged to was bad for the league. I'm old enough to remember when Austin Rivers was traded to the Suns and refused to play. Devin Booker is going to Bayern Munich. What? Wait, what? Devin Booker is going to Germany? Not that Devin Booker, different Devin Booker. And that guy's SEO must be an absolute nightmare.
The Toronto Raptors signed Javon Freeman-Liberty to a two-way contract. Really? Freeman Liberty. Free-man Liberty. What are you trying to hide? Staying in Toronto, free agent guard Jeff Doughton has agreed to a training camp deal to re-sign with the Raptors, with a significant salary guarantee if he makes the opening night roster. That, according to sources telling Shams Charania of The Athletic. However, there remains skepticism of that actually happening from Doughton's circle, including his older brother Thomas.
You could say that they're doubting him. Get it like doubting.
That's the joke. That's the joke, Charlotte. Thomas, Downton Thomas.
What?
That's the joke.
Oh. And now, our conversation with Jason Richardson right here on Oddball.
Cannot explain how excited I am. This man played in the league 13 years, was a dunk contest champion multiple times. Also played for the Phoenix Suns. We went to the conference finals. A good friend, a good teammate, and a damn good player. His name is Jason Richardson. Jay Rich, what's up, man?
What's going on? Thanks for having me here.
Man, I'm so excited.
He really has been talking about this all week. It's Friday now. No, it's Thursday.
I don't know what day
Time
it
doesn't
is.
exist in Vegas, but Jason, Amin keeps being like, Jay Rich, can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Because they give me the guest list every day. They're like, okay, we got so-and-so coming and so-and-so. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, it's people I know, or know of.
Yeah.
But What is it? Oh, Jay Rich coming tonight? Oh, man. It's reminiscent time.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Definitely had some good years there in Phoenix. All those years we were there, man. The talks we had in the hallways and continue to have those talks every time we run into each other.
Yeah. I was actually telling the story before I knew you were going to be a guest. I was telling the story of when we played Portland, and they beat us in that first game.
Yeah.
And then we had to switch all the matchups. So we put Grant Hill on Andre Miller.
Yeah.
We put Steve Nash on Batum.
Batum,
And then we went up to Portland, and you had 37, was
37, yeah.
37 up there in Portland. And we're like, it's a wrap.
Yeah, we had to make that change. It was a different lineup.
Yeah.
We came together, and the rest was on after that.
Jay Rich, I want to ask you because everyone knows you as a great dunker. Like that, you know, obviously you had one of the most exciting dunk contests of all time. I think the one that was in Atlanta where you came out and you did the windmill for Dominique and all that.
Yeah.
But I feel like people don't respect that you were a great shooter as well. And that Portland game is the one I always think about. Is like, you killed them from the outside pretty much. How do you feel about how you're remembered as a player?
Of course, everybody gonna remember me from the dunk contest because that's where I got my name from. And we weren't winning many games at Golden State, so we weren't Steph Curry and Klay Thompson or Draymond Green, so we were rarely on TV if at all. So a lot of people didn't realize, how hard I worked on my game because I wasn't a shooter coming into the NBA.
Right.
In college I became a shooter because I worked on it. And once I got to the NBA, those first couple years between me and Gilbert Arenas, we were breaking guns or fighting over the guns, the machine guns, not the physical guns.
Be clear, it's a machine at the practice facility that shoots the ball out.
So Jason.
But we used to go in there and we used to just hog this machine up because we was always trying to get shots up. So I think that's what continued to make me become a better shooter.
Is that something people don't realize, just the amount of work that players put in? I mean, I think fans sort of expect guys to just show up, especially from their rookie year, and be great. And I'm not sure they always understand the amount of work that actually goes into becoming better and then staying in the league for as long as you did.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the parts that people don't realize. I mean, you're constantly in the gym.
Yeah.
And you're missing, with the game schedule and practice schedule, then you're going to get extra work. You're missing plays. You're missing parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might be missing a funeral. I mean, it's just a lot of sacrifices you're making. But, that work ethic, they don't realize how hard that, pros work.
You mentioned Gilbert. I got to talk about this because we've talked about this in the past. Couple things. I want to talk about Gilbert basketball-wise first, actually, and then we're going to talk about Gilbert, the hilariousness. But I remember running into you years ago, and this was right around, I want to say, 2014, 2015, and we're just catching up. And then Jay looks at me and says, isn't it weird? All the things they said about Gilbert was the wrong way to play point, and now all the point guards are playing like that. Steph and Damian Lillard, and all down the line, pretty much. The guys that play like Chris Paul are very limited, and the guys that are offense first point guards, that's kind of the way to go. And I just want to know, from your perspective, as you watch the game change, right, from where we were one of the few teams playing fast, and Golden State, y'all one of the few teams playing fast and shooting threes. Now everyone's doing it. So, how are you seeing the game now?
Oh, man, it's wide open right now. I mean, it's positionless basketball. I think that's what makes everybody so dangerous. But I was just talking in the car about Gilbert, the same thing about him. He was literally the person that started what we're seeing right now with point guards, combo guards. They're not really point guards, but they're not really two guards. They're the basketball players that can score the basketball. You need them on the floor. Right. And you see the Stephs and the Dames and all the other guards out there, Trae Young and those guys like that. I think Gilbert was a trendsetter for that. I mean, he was just that unique in scoring, could shoot the ball really well, could pass it, dribble it, do all those things. But it just opens up the game so much that, for me, I think the positive, you see him more scoring. You see him positionless basketball. You get guys like Noel that he's able to play at 5'8". They say he is. And back then, if you put a 5'8" guard on me, we're going to the post. I'm going to get 30 in the post, but it's just a different game right now. But I think the con of that is we get away from the pure natural basketball. The defensive matchups, the post play, those type of things. I just love that style of basketball.
Are there guys right now who you think are doing that style of basketball really well, or you see the older vestiges of the game in them?
Yeah, some of those guys are still doing it. And for me, You know, my last year in the league was, 2015 with the process in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. Did you trust it?
I trust the process. I trust Sam. Sam is a great mind. If you really talk to Sam, he's a little quirky, but he's a great guy. You got to understand where he come from. But I didn't understand why we took out the part of the game that really it's a beautiful part because it's so tough, which is the mid-range.
Yeah.
Right. But for me, if you look at the greatest scorers in the NBA right now, those guys still have mid-range games.
Yeah.
And those guys, you can't stop. You can't stop them from getting to the rim. And if you stop them from getting to the rim, they got a mid-range.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you play off them, they go shoot a 3 in your face.
Yeah.
And those guys we're talking about Devin Booker's, Kevin Durant, Steph. Even though Steph shoot a lot of threes, Steph is one of the greatest finishers in NBA history almost.
Right. Yeah.
The way he's finishing, but it's just so, the three-pointer has almost become like a dunk now. Everybody's excited about a three-pointer, and they don't care about a dunk unless you dunk on somebody.
That's a great take. I love that.
Jay, okay, so that's the basketball series.
Oh, man.
Gilbert, you and Gilbert were rookies at the same time, right? And you were on a national champion team at Michigan State.
Yep.
He was coming out of an Arizona program that was also really strong. You get to the league, and in the NBA, hazing comes in a lot of different flavors. Like, some people go really hard. Some people are just like, hey, just get some donuts or something like that. What happened when they try to haze Gilbert?
Gilbert is the pettiest person I know, first of all. And when you do something to Gilbert, he's going to come by like, okay, I knocked down your cup of coffee. Well, Gilbert's going to come down and burn your house down. That's just how Gilbert is. I learned early on, if you do what they say, they'll leave you alone.
Right.
But Gilbert just never, just being Gilbert, he just never just was cool about it. He always thought, it was something that they were picking on him, but he just kept on messing with him. And so Gilbert was like, man, I'm a second-round pick. I can't afford to get donuts every day. And so he's like, I'm done doing this. And so one day I'm coming to shoot around. They literally stopped me and Troy Murphy from having to buy donuts. It was Gilbert's job to buy donuts for the rest of the season. So he buy these Krispy Kreme donuts, and I go to get one. He said, Jason. I said, what, man? I'm getting a donut. He said, I licked on every last one of them. He licked on every one of those donuts.
Did he ever tell them? Or
oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got it, right?
And
After they eat them?
Oh, they went on them. Oh, man. It was some bad things that happened to Gilbert that day. But it was just the fact that, like I said, it's Gilbert Arenas. If you go do something to him, he's going to do it 10 times worse to you.
I knew about it, but I didn't realize like how close that bond was as far as like big brother, little brother, showing them the ropes and stuff like that. What was it about, first of all, what was it about Jared that you said, I'm going to take you under my wing?
Well, the first thing is with Jared, he's a hard worker. And it was almost kind of, I saw myself in him. Nobody really gave him a chance. Not really athletic.
Right.
Can't really get past
I thought
anybody.
you saw yourself in him. Hold on.
But just like it was
the hard work part.
Yeah, the
there
hard work
yeah.
part. And he made himself into an NBA player.
Absolutely.
And the hard work he put in and the things he's done, he was a great teammate.
Yeah.
I mean, made everybody laugh, great locker room guy. So it was like automatically we just got this bond. And it was something that I was envisioning for myself when I was that young.
Right.
Until maybe my third year when Avery Johnson came along, Calbert Chaney came along, Cliff Robinson came along. Those guys showed me, Derek Fisher was another one, how to be a vet.
Right.
And I was like, man, I ever get that opportunity, I'm going to do that to a young guy. Because those guys took me under their wing, and they showed me how to be a veteran, how to be an NBA pro, how to last in this league for many years like I did. So it was like me, after those guys took my hand, I took somebody else's hand. And that's how, the NBA was with, guys getting really close to those rookies and guiding them through to help them have careers.
What did they teach you? Like, what was the thing to be a vet? Or what, if you could give a rookie one piece of advice, is there, like, what's the first thing you say?
Man, shoot, it's a lot of things to say because it's so many things that, each vet taught me different things. So, like, for instance, Calbert Chaney, how to be a gentleman. I mean, Cal was one of the greatest teammates I ever had.
Yeah.
He just, the way he carried himself, he did it as a professional way. The same thing with Derek Fisher, hard work. I mean, Derek was in the gym like lifting weights every day. And that's why he looked like a big muscle. he was just out there lifting weights every day. So it showed me how hard he worked. And then not only that, he played with Kobe Bryant.
Right.
I'm picking his brain every day. I know I couldn't get at Kobe level, but tell me, what do I need to do? And he was telling me these different things Kobe was doing. I was like, yeah, I can't do that, but it's a great story. I'm going to try to do that. Cliff Robinson, just being tough on the floor. Just showing up and having your teammates back every day in and day out. And then Avery Johnson, it was more on a spiritual level. Having a relationship with God and your family, how to be a family man.
Yeah.
That was really big for me to see him, married to his wife for all these years, and the way he treated his wife, the way he raised his kids. That was huge for me.
All right, let's take a quick break here, Jay Rich. The stories are not stopping. They're great stories. It's great memories. I want to keep going. So
Absolutely.
Let's take a little break. We'll come back with more Jay Rich right here on Oddball. Welcome back to Oddball. Charlotte Wilder, Amin and Elhassan. We're still here with Jason Richardson. We still got a lot more stories to go. You're a Michigan State alum. Another famous Golden State Warrior is a Michigan State alum. Also wears, I should say, number 23 for them, Draymond Green. Y'all are both from Saginaw, right?
Yep.
So did you have, what was your relationship like with Draymond before coming to the league and then since he's been in the league?
Well, it was kind of a big age difference.
Yeah.
But I'm from a city where it's 30,000 people, so everybody knew everybody. So
Right.
my mom knew his mom, knew his family. I mean, everybody knew each other. But it was at a stage where he was coming into college, and I was in the beginning of my career, maybe 4 or 5 years into my career. So I wasn't coming home as much as I was those first 3 years. So I didn't really have a super, super close relationship. But we're Saginaw, so we're going to stick together. So, once he went to Michigan State, we got a bond. We started, work out every time I come around. He comes to, somewhere, we would meet up and have dinner and stuff like that. So it's still, we had that closeness with each other because we're from a small city and everybody support each other.
What's your most intense Tom Izzo story?
Oh, all of them. I think this one ties into, him being intense and us having the greatest practice I've ever been a part of. So my freshman year, I think we was plus 17 in rebounding, and that was huge for us.
Yeah.
He's big about rebounding. We play Iowa, and I think we get out rebounded by 5. And he's lighting us up. And we was like, man, what's going to happen in the next practice? He's lighting us up right now. I can't wait to see what happens in the practice. So we all get in the locker room. As soon as we walk in the locker room for the next day for practice, it's shoulder pads and helmets in the locker room.
I said, I knew it, man. I knew it. They just play football out there.
Are you serious?
Man.
I'm dead serious. And when I'm telling you, he said, we're going to see who wants to hit somebody and who wants to be a man today. And we practiced the whole practice with helmets and shoulder pads. And let me tell you, it was the greatest practice I ever been a part of. Because you could tell which guys wanted to get hit and who didn't. And if we had 12 guys, we had 11 guys that wanted to hit. So it was just constant action. And we never lost the rebound battle in the 2 years I was there after that.
Charlotte, when I tell you that's what we always talk about, guys coming out of Michigan State, well, he's a football player just because they played at Michigan State.
Yep.
I was just saying, I didn't know, actually suiting up out there, man.
So we had this drill. It's called the war drill.
The war drill?
War drill.
Okay.
And so it's anything goes. You got to get the rebound. It's 5-on-5. 5 guys outside, 5 guys inside. They throw the ball at the rim. You got to box out first, but anything goes to get that rebound. It can go out of bounds. It can go down the stairs. You are getting that rebound.
Yeah.
And don't let it be the offensive rebound. You get an offensive rebound. Oh, you go stay on defense for a minute. You go stay there.
Wow.
But we'll do that for 30, 45 minutes of practice.
What are your memories of Matt Ishbia being on the team?
One of my teammates that I always remember, and one of the teammates I hate.
Why?
So Matt, I know Matt since high school. We go way back, since high school. And Matt was on the scout team.
Right.
So Matt could be Michael Redd, who was a shooter at Ohio State. He could be Joe Crispin, who was a shooter at Penn State. He could be Kirk Penny, who was a shooter at Wisconsin. And he could do whatever he wants. So he had the whole scout team make up plays, and he's running off 8 screens to get a shot off and getting us yelled at. So, but it was fun, though, man. I remember that. I'd be like, man, chill out, man. It's getting us in trouble. No. Watch this next play I got for you. And he used to, and the thing about Matt, he wasn't a scrub. Matt could actually play basketball.
Right.
Okay.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was good at high school, and he played, at Michigan State. We just had a lot of players, but he could really play basketball. And so with his little butt is just running around these screens, and you had these big old guys setting screens for him, he's open. He's knocking it down.
That's not something I think most people think about. You playing with someone on a team. One day this guy's going to own a team.
Never.
That's a wild kind of leap,
Would you
right?
have believed it if someone had told you
No,
that?
what, Matt Ishbia? Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
In the NBA, there's 3 ways to do anything. There's the wrong way to do it, there's a right way to do it, and then there's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And example I use always is floppy, right?
Yeah.
Someone sets a down screen, you start under the basket, you come over right. If you want to do it wrong, you come off that screen wide, right? You got a lot of space between you and the screener. If you want to do it correctly, you come shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
But then I said, then you want to do it like an elite level. I said, Jay Rich would do this. He would like start, and then he would look, and he'd like, yo, Amin, what's going on? And there was so much more than just the act of going, shoulder to shoulder on the screen. There was all this misdirection and all that stuff. Where do you pick up on that stuff? Is that something that you were coached? Is that something that you pick up because it happened to you as a defender?
Absolutely. It happens to me all the time. So, I mean, my era, I think, and I'm a little biased, but I feel like I lived in the greatest two-guard era.
Right.
I mean, you had Kobe, you had
T-Mac,
Ray Allen, Ginobili, Paul Pierce plays two-guard. Brandon Roy. So, and then you playing against guys that were like, for me, I was an offensive guy. I'm match up against Doug Christie, Bruce Bowen.
Right.
And so you start picking up little tricks on offense and defense. I remember for Bruce Bowen, every time I came off a floppy screen, he would grab my wrist. So as soon as I go, I had to stay with him. And he let go, and he looked at the ref like I didn't do anything. Guess what I start doing?
Yeah.
I'm not going to, okay, T-Mac here, take this little grab real quick. But it works. But you find those little things. Like, if I'm coming off a screen as a defender, and I seen the guy coming shoulder to shoulder, I push him on his hip.
Right.
So now he can't get close to that.
Charlotte, you'd agree he's a really nice guy, right?
Yeah, lovely. This has been a delight.
Right? When I tell you, man, like him, Grant Hill comes across as a very nice man, right?
Yeah.
These guys, man, whenever I was running the scoreboard during the practice, don't believe this, man. They become liars. The meanest people. Talking about, you missed the point. You're like, no, I didn't. Like, and y'all have me believing and doubting and stuff. When that happens, I never understood totally, like, were they messing with me trying to see if you could get an extra point out of it, or was you just literally so crazy competitive in that moment in a random drill that, like, you're going to get whatever advantage you could?
It was crazy competitive.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I felt.
Myself and Grant were honest guys. It just, we wanted to win.
Yeah.
And if we feel like we got cheated on a point, we want our point.
Right.
And that's just how, that's why that team was so good. We were so competitive in practice. We didn't let anybody slide in those practices. It was just constant competitiveness.
The chemistry was incredible, down to the family room.
Yeah.
When I tell you, like, it was the families that was hanging out together outside of us.
Yep.
So my cousin Proof was hanging out with Brian, who was hanging out with Jeremy and AJ, who was Jared Dudley's friends and stuff. And it was like, it became this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that wasn't normal. At the time, we were just like, hey, man, it's all good.
Yeah.
I was going to say, as someone outside of the NBA world, how common is that?
Never. It's not.
Really?
That's the only team. No, that was the only team where you had the players got along and the families got along.
And that's a big one.
That was a big one. And the crazy part about it, we lose to the Lakers in Game 6. And I think the majority of the team stayed around and hung out with each other for like 4 weeks after the season. Like, my family, Grant Hill's family, Dudley, I think, was there, and the owner, we all went to a water park and stayed a weekend at a water park and hung out as a family. That's just how close that team was.
That's dedication. 4 weeks is a long time.
It is a long time, but we didn't want the season to end. It hurt us because it was such a special season for us. Just the guys sacrificing. I remember we playing San Antonio, and Goran Dragic go crazy in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 23 points.
23 points, and Alvin Gentry comes to the bench and asking me, Steve, Grant, and Amari, "Hey, you guys want to go in?" We was like, "No."
They just kept playing. They put the bench in with like 2 minutes to go in the third.
Yeah.
And then they never subbed back.
Never subbed back. We
in.
never got back in the game.
Yep.
We ended up sweeping in San Antonio. That was just how good that team was and how close it was that nobody cared about scoring. We just wanted to win.
Right.
And like for us to lose that, like I said, against Kobe, which was he was on a mission. We just didn't want the season to end. It was very special. And we kind of knew that was the end of it. Yeah. Because Amari, we knew Amari
was a free agent.
Right.
Yeah. So we kind of didn't want that season to go.
Yeah. And then again, I remember seeing you 2 years later. I think by that time you were in Philly.
Yeah.
And we had that talk. We were like, man, we didn't know how good we
it
had
was. Nope.
Like that was really, that's basketball heaven. And I know fans always think, oh, y'all didn't win a championship, so who cares or whatever. It couldn't have been that good. But when you find that level of everybody on the same page,
absolutely,
man, there's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it.
This is why, man, you're going to be my brother forever.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It's been an absolute pleasure spending our time with you.
When are we going to Mars?